welcome back to my channel. It's Ashleigh here, and if you are new, hey girl, hey. So in this video today, I'm going to show you how I transformed this piece. So this is a smaller little TV stand for a smaller space, and as you can see, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. So the side here, it was actually coming off that little piece on this side, so I just like peeled the whole thing off. And then there's some pieces missing from the back, pieces that are still I need to pull off. So the sides of this piece are particle board, but the top and the doors are wood. So that's why the piece is a little bit heavier. And I actually think the bottom is wood too. So just like the inner portions and the outer portions of this are particle board. So as you can see down here, it is gone. It's gone. They tried to screw it back on. The same thing they did up here. It actually looked like it came off, and they just took some longer screws and just screwed it in to keep it into place. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how you can fix those type of things if that happens, or you get a piece of furniture that pieces are missing, or maybe you have furniture at your house where pieces are missing. I'm going to show you how to repair those. So with that being said, let's get started. Okay, so the first things first, I'm just going to start to clean off this piece. All right, so now I'm going to start to disassemble the piece. So I'm going to get rid of these doors, take all the hardware off, and just remove any other pieces of that particle board that's coming off. I'm just going to start to peel those off so that we can start to make those repairs. So before I start filling in these areas, I'm just going to take my palm sander and I'm going to sand down these areas as smooth as I can. All right, so now I'm going to take my good old Bondo and I'm going to start to fill in all of these large gapped areas that are completely missing. So all you're gonna do is you're just gonna start to build up on that Bondo. Bondo, depending on how much hardener you put on there, is going to affect how fast it dries. So if you put more hardener on there, it's going to dry faster. If you put less, it's going to take a little bit longer to dry. So just keep that in mind when you are using the Bondo. So you're just basically going to be adding Bondo on top of each other, just piling it up. But while you're piling up, you want to kind of keep it nice and smooth, so when you're sanding, it's easier for you to sand it down. Okay, so this back piece here was the most time consuming part, because I really had to make sure that I build my side up enough to match the other side. So it's really basically, when you're missing pieces, about building them up and shaping them and molding them to where they need to be. And in this instance, I used my backing that I was going to place on here to help me kind of gauge where and how high I needed my Bondo to come up, so that I'll be able to have it the exact same size and shape as the other side. So as you can see, like, I'm showing like where the gap is. So now I know I need to add more Bondo to it and let it dry and then shape it and mold it again. So it's really, when you're doing repairs like this, you just have to be really patient and just take your time. Okay, so now I'm gonna fill in these holes, and before you fill in any holes like this, you just wanna be mindful that they could have been created by bugs. So if you're concerned about that, just make sure you check it out before you fill in any type of holes that look like this. All right, so now that everything is nicely repaired and sanded smooth, now I'm just going to get it prepped for painting. So I'm going to be wiping this piece down and removing all of the dust that has collected onto the piece. Okay, so now it's time to paint. So before I put my actual color that I'm gonna be using on, I'm just going to prime this piece down. This is just a precaution for me. You don't have to prime a piece if you don't want to. You can always just do the scratch test that I always talk about. But I'm just gonna prime this piece just because it's a darker piece and I don't wanna have any bleed through or anything like that. And if you don't wanna prime it like this and you wanna be able to kind of like distress it and be able to show that brown, you can always just put shellac over it. All right, so now I'm going to start to paint my main color onto this piece. And the color that I am painting with is called Sailor's Blue, and it's by Artentico Paints. And I love this color. It's like a really nice, deep, rich blue. So if you're looking for a really nice, deep, rich blue, this is the color for you. It's a really nice navy. So I'm gonna have it linked down below so you can check it out. but this is the color that I'm going to be using for this whole entire piece. Okay, so here I'm just showing you on this side, I did 2 coats. And so I'm going to have to just do one more coat on these. So I just want to kind of show you how the coverage of this paint works. All right, so now I'm going to start working on the doors. So right now I'm just going to be using this painter's tape, which is terrible. I'm gonna try to use some frog tape because I've heard that frog tape is like bomb. But anyways, I'm just using this on my glass here so that I don't get any paint on it. And I honestly would have been better off just getting paint on it and scraping it off with a razor, just saying. But yes, so I'm getting this door prepped and then we're gonna do that same exact thing, prime it and paint it. All right, so this had no back on it. So now I'm going to create a back. So to do that, I'm just going to measure the height of this and the width of this, and then I'm going to take my piece of plywood and I'm going to cut it onto my table saw to get it down to the size that I need for the back. All right, so now I'm going to take this lovely mandala printed fabric that I got from Joann's, and I'm going to cover the shelves with this and also the back. And to do that, I'm just going to use my matte Mod Podge and water gun, not a water gun, a spray bottle. And I'm gonna spray and add the glue, and you guys will see how this all comes together. But this is really, really, really easy to do. Getting those edges nice and smooth, all you have to do is add your glue, add the water, and let it dry into place before you even start to flip it over and work on the back, so it kind of dries in the place that it needs to be, and you don't have to worry about having any bumps and lumps and all that stuff. Okay, so now I'm gonna do that same thing with the back. The back is way easier than doing those shelves. So basically you lay it down, cut what you need, and take off any excess parts that you don't need. Excess parts. I hate that word. This word is like the worst thing to say ever, because sometimes I feel like I say it wrong and sometimes I'm like, dude, let me just record that again. So now here, this is what I did, found it to be the most easiest way to do this, was I treated this like I was doing upholstery. So I just flip it over, staple areas that needs to be stapled, and then the center portions, I did the Mod Podge and glued those areas down. But everything else, I literally treated it like I was upholstering a chair. All right, so now we're gonna start to work on our top. So the top I'm going to plank. So I already measured out my wood, and now I'm taking it to my miter saw and cutting down the sizes that I need. So the stain that I use is, I use dark walnut first, and then just to give it just a little darker tone and kind of like cool it off a little bit, I used ebony. So those two wood stains are what I use to create the color that the top has. I added this clip in to show you that on the right side it has the ebony on top and the left side is still the dark walnut, so you can see the difference when you add that on top. All right, so now I'm gonna start planking the top. So in this case, I don't have my nail gun, you guys. If you're new, I don't have my nail gun because honestly I would have used my nail gun. But I'm just going to be screwing these boards up from the bottom. So I'm just using my clamp here to clamp these down. And then I'm going to take my wood screws and I'm going to screw these from the bottom to the top. Okay, so so all the hardware for this piece, I ended up spray painting them like this metallic bronze color. So I'll have that link down below. Really pretty color. Also, the furniture cabinet magnets, I had to order some new ones. So when I got them in, they were silver. So of course I had to spray paint those. And these work really well. So I'll have them linked down below as well. All right, so now I'm going to just attach all the hardware. So the hardware on here is brown. So I kind of like put the hardware on there first and then I was like, oh my God, this looks terrible. So that's when I spray painted them. But I still wanted to add this clip in so you guys can see me adding the hardware back on to this piece. All right, so now I'm going to do the black vintage wash. I picked this wash up from Joann's, and if I can link it down below, I will link it. But basically all I'm doing is taking my sponge brush and I'm just sponging it over my paint, and then I'm going to wipe it off, and it's going to darken the paint just a little bit, and then you'll have like these nice vintage streak washed kind of looking thing going on. So I did this to the entire piece. All right, so the moment you've been waiting for, the end result. So here we are. I love how this piece turned out. It's so cute. And I love the top, the wood planks. You guys know I love to do that. That's like one of my favorite things to do. And the sides look like there was nothing ever wrong with them. So I'm so happy with how that turned out. On the sides, although it was a lot of work, my favorite part is the inside. Nice pop of color and pattern. And also just like this quick recap of how this looked before. It looked terrible. Literally could have gone in the trash, but I saved it, and I love when I can save a piece of furniture and make it new. So all in all, absolutely love how this piece turned out. Body sealed with wax, top sealed with polyacrylic. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. Make sure you comment down below to let me know what you think, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!